Good morning, everybody. We're here on the beach, Holden Beach, actually today. It's a little bit windy, so we hope we can be heard on this morning. So nevertheless, we have Dr. Ashley here this morning, and it's an honor and a privilege to have her here in person. Last time was during the Zoom interview, so we wanted to come out to the beach today. The shell beds are not as well today, windy, sun's coming out, so Dr. Ashley, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so glad to be here.
And we're here on Holden Beach. Everyone is ranting and raving about the beach, especially Holden, the quality, the content, what's being pulled up. So Dr. Ashley, first of all, tell us a little bit about the folks that don't know you. Introduce yourself. We have a lot of folks that are brand new to the page, brand new to shelling, to teeth. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got started.
Got it. So my name's Dr. Ashley Oliphant, and I sound like a scientist, but I'm actually not. I'm an English professor. I retired from teaching after 20 years, just a couple of years ago. And in 2015, I wrote the book Shark Tooth Hunting on the Carolina Coast, which really has become a field guide that a lot of people across the country have used, because it teaches you where to hunt for shark's teeth, how to do it, and then most importantly, how to identify the species with an all-color identification guide. And so as the book came out, I began to get so many questions about whether I would come out and do a presentation, if I'd do a workshop, if I would work with kids, so that they could learn. And what I've discovered over those years is there is such a desire, as shark tooth hunting and shelling have become such massive hobbies, like ecotourism just grows every year.
Absolutely.
There's such a desire for learning, but there aren't very many teachers. And I realized that if I would hit the road, I could make a living doing this. And I'm still teaching, but I'm just doing it in a different way. And so I have spent now the better part of a couple of years researching, traveling. I'm currently working on a book about shelling, and just want to be a resource for people who want to learn and that just can't find a good outlet for it.
Absolutely. So the first book that you came out with is very popular. They can get it on your webpage, Amazon, Books A Million, you name it. So it's a great guide. It's very understandable. It has a lot of good resources, has the teeth, fossil, shells. So once a person comes out here to a beach, what should they look for like on a day like today? Because most will get discouraged. There's nothing out here. It's out here, it's just covered up, right? So what would they do when they come on the beach like today? What do they look for?
Yeah. So some days, let me start by saying no beach is a guarantee. On any given day, even a beach like Holden, where there's so much hype, and you see that hype through Facebook pages, which are wonderful. It's a great place to learn and to sort of figure out what's going on. But unfortunately, with places like Holden, you have folks driving very long distances,
right,
and they arrive to a beach day like today where there's just not very much material on the beach. And so the really experienced hunters would step out on a day like today and do what I call read the beach, which is just sort of a real quick look. We walk for a little ways, but on a day like today, I would not spend very much time here.
Okay.
I would do what I call beach hopping. I may get in the car and go somewhere else. I may get in the car and go to a different part of this beach. But there are just going to be some days that you don't find anything. And that's not the fault of the people posting on Facebook saying, look what I found that was great today.
Right.
You're not guaranteed that tomorrow is going to be the same. So with Holden, if you want me to explain beach renourishment,
sure,
and why Holden has been such a big deal since the spring of last year, many beach communities are going through a process called beach renourishment. And what that means is after a period of either short-term erosion that's really impactful, like a hurricane or a storm, or because of erosion that's more long-term, the beach will erode, and the officials will feel the need to replenish the sand, either by bringing dump truck loads of it in from somewhere else, or more commonly using an offshore barge to pump sand in. Sometimes those renourishment projects hit veins of sand where there's not very much in them, and you'll come out to a freshly renourished beach and just see blank sand. What happened with Holden was that the people running those barges and those tubes hit it just right, and I've heard that the amount of material that winds up on the beach depends on the speed with which the pumps go. And in the case of Holden, they hit a vein of material that was not only fossil rich, it was from an era in time, the Cretaceous period, where really, really amazing species were alive. And so this has become a beach that's almost like a time capsule, and you can go back 65 million years in time and pick up pieces of animals, you know, that were alive then. And so that's why Holden's hot, but Holden's not going to stay hot. All beach renourishment projects will provide a bump for a time. Holden's been unusual because it's lasted longer than most, but I fully expect over the next year we're going to be hearing less about Holden, and the next beach that renourishes is going to be the place that you're going to want to try to plop yourself down.
Now, we do want to go here. Some of you want to come out in the early mornings, late at night. Dr. Ashley would like to share a story with you for your safety, because sometimes if you're not on the beach a lot, or because you think you're on the beach, you would assume you wouldn't come across certain dangers. So could you kind of share what we should be very mindful of when we're out here by ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't recommend the by yourself part of it. It's always good to come with a buddy. But if you are going to be hunting any beach, whether that's right before daylight or whether that's, you know, after the sun has just gone down in the evening, you need to be aware of any predator that might be on the beach in the area where you are. And I know at some of the beaches that I hunt, there are predators that sometimes wildlife officials don't really want to acknowledge might be there.
So those would be...
Yeah, so I know I have had encounters not on the beach but close by with both panthers and mountain lions in areas where wildlife officials assure there's none of those animals are going to be. And I understand why they wouldn't want, you know, to panic the populace. But on the beach, you may see fox, you may see deer, you may see coyote. You also have the potential, a lot of people don't recognize how many kinds of snakes are on the beach. And every now and then there can be a gator that swims up. And so you need to be ready not only for any sort of wildlife that you might see, you need to be mindful of what mating seasons they may have, because in those periods of mating seasons, animals that would normally not be seen as posing very much of a risk can do things that they normally wouldn't do. So
now, being up north too, since we're in the neighborhood of animals, when you cross Holden Bridge, right, you'll see a sea turtle sanctuary, right? Turtle sanctuary. So is the shark tooth hunters, are they going to encounter a lot of nests right now? Have you seen a lot of nests?
So I have not. A turtle nesting season, this is general. I do a whole lot of hunting in Florida too. In general, you will see guidelines for turtles that shellers and shark tooth hunters need to be, and anybody walking on the beach need to be aware of. April to October is generally the time. As much time as I spend out on a beach at night, I have never encountered a mama turtle coming in, and I have never seen a hatch of a nest before. But it is recommended that if you're going to be on the beach at night in a turtle nesting area during season, you need to use red lights for flashlights and for your headlamps. And what's neat about a lot of the new headlamps that are coming out is that they have the ability to switch from white light to red. For those of you who don't know, the reason you would need red light is because turtles need the white light of the moon to determine where they're going to come in for nesting. And if you have a white light, it's confusing for them. And so the red light does not confuse them. I will say that hunting with a red light is a lot harder than hunting with a white light. If when you're out here with a red light, be prepared. It's just
Changes
not as strong. It's a different ballgame.
So let's kind of go back to shelling and the hunting the team. Now, she does have a new book coming out, and she's in the process of writing it very quickly. I was impressed. I will not give any details because it is something that's forthcoming. Look for that soon. So when I'm looking for shark teeth, I go by colors, right? So up, the further north you go, the lighter they are, compared to these, I guess, the sediment that's being pulled up for. So for example, what I've noticed is South Myrtle is more blackish. When you come this way, they're more cream, brown, tan. Is that because of what has been pulled up in the different renourishment projects, or is it just due to the sediment that they're in?
So the color of any fossil is going to be determined by the minerals that were in the sediment where it fossilized. We can identify different beach locations and regions that are characterized by varying colors. For instance, those Carolina cream teeth that everybody's so excited to find. Really, the best place to find those, in my opinion, is between Cherry Grove and Myrtle. That seems to sort of be the pocket. But I found a beautiful cream at Holden about a week and a half ago. So they do pop up, but they're just not as frequent as you move north.
Okay.
Unless we're talking about getting up into Aurora, and that's kind of a different ball game.
Right.
But here, I still about probably 95 out of 100 teeth that I find are black. It's still the most common. However, when you start to move further north, when we talk about beaches like Topsail or Onslow, which I was on Onslow yesterday, the colors get really interesting up there because you do see more browns, more reds. I even found a broken great white yesterday up there that had bright neon orange spots on it. So you can get colors like blue and green and all sorts of interesting things. But again, that's mineral dependent based on where those fossils went through that 10,000 year process of fossilization.
Okay, let's go here. Dr. Ashley does a lot of what I would call homeschooling events, libraries, public speaking events. What are some of the events that people that follow you or coming across you, where can they find you next? Where can they go to get on your schedule? Where can they go to get registered? How do they get tickets?
Yeah. So I have a new Facebook page called On the Beach with Dr. Ashley Oliphant. I regularly update my schedule there. My summers are always super packed with fun events, both for adults and children. And those events are also sometimes for shark's teeth, sometimes for shelling, and sometimes a combination of both. This summer, I'm going to be, actually spring through summer, I'm going to be appearing in Florida, in Georgia, South Carolina, tons of North Carolina events, and some of these are going inland too. I know I'm going to be in Forsyth County, Carteret County, Catawba County, Lincoln County, Gaston County in North Carolina. I'm going to be in inland Georgia here in just a couple of weeks. So if you are interested in coming to see one of my events or to get one of your kiddos in, you can check On the Beach with Dr. Ashley Oliphant. Just friend me through that page. I post daily content there of the interesting things that I find on the beach. It's very educational. And usually the tickets for the events, like I said at the outset, they're a lack of teachers. So when these events go live at libraries, the tickets get scooped up pretty quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Follow that page because I will tell you there when the links are ready before I blast it on other fossil forums. So that my followers will be able to slide in and get those tickets first.
Now, if someone would want to book you, they can still go through the same way to be able through your page. So if anyone wants to book Dr. Ashley, colleges, what will really be different, I think really is cool, is hotels reach out. We have a lot of different people on the page, news and divers and all types. So this is a great tool. We want to push Dr. Ashley. She was our very first interviewer here. I'm honored, was humbled. Some people, I thank God that Dr. Ashley's not, but some people are, sometimes they seem to be untouchable, right? They reach such a plateau of I'm better and too good, but we're thankful we have great knowledge, great resources out here. You see her on the beach, wave, say hello. She's out here all the time. I do want to ask a question. I guess the question is this. If someone comes out, I get this question a lot, what do we do when we don't find anything? She said she would go to a different spot, to a different area. What I've seen is a lot of people coming out. They come out 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. they give up on a day when the shell beds are amazing, right? Because they don't know how to look, what to look for. We recommend to get an idea looking for black, looking for shiny. How would a person go by, because technology has truly changed, Google Lens and all this, but how can one really become more knowledgeable with teeth if they don't have money for books, or they might not be able to know what they have? Because now you have the dolphin teeth that comes up, you have mammoth stuff that comes up, you have different fossils and species. Should they bring everything back with them and just start to get literature and get books to be able to identify? Because sometimes we throw good content back because we just don't know what it is.
Yep.
So what would be your recommendation on the people that finds, because I get a lot of posts that it's just a rock, right? A lot of times it is. Is this a mineral? Is this a fossil? What is this? So what would be the great recommendation for folks that may not be looking for teeth, but looking on the fossil side of things? That's totally different than looking from teeth.
It is. So my recommendation is pick it up and bring it home. Don't throw it out because you think it's nothing. And it's interesting. I'm not going to say what it was that I found here a couple of weeks ago, but I saw someone post, "Hey everybody, I just found a this at this place," and I was like, "Oh, that's what that was." And I did just about throw it back, and it turned out to be something really spectacular. So don't ever throw it back. And sort of buried in that question you mentioned, what do people do if they don't have resources? I encourage you to check your libraries, because my shark tooth book, and in many libraries, they have 4, 5, 6 copies. It's available everywhere in libraries. So don't underestimate your capacity to get all of these resources for free. So I'm really glad that my book has gained such popularity in libraries. You also need to use the online forums that are available to you. Myrtle Beach Shark Teeth is a great place, obviously, to come for answers. But if you're on the fossil end of it, I really do love East Coast Fossil. It's a Facebook group, and what I like about it is the number of experts that patrol it every day. And even I sometimes find things, because I know a lot about shark's teeth, but when it comes to bones and fossils, I learn every day. I learn about shark's teeth every day. But you can, on pages like that for free, post what you found, and in my experience, those identifications that you get are usually pretty spot on. And you can sort of, the longer you're on those pages, you can figure out who are the people who really, really know, and you can trust their answers. But fossil hunting and shark tooth hunting and shelling are a lifelong learning hobby. And so you don't ever, and be suspicious of anybody who claims to know it all, and that their knowledge base is now closed, because it is lifelong learning. And that's sort of back to what you started the question with. There are fossil hunters who are very secretive about where they hunt, how they hunt.
Very cryptic.
Absolutely, what their methods are, and some even have bad attitudes. Like, there will be people who don't like the fact that I'm standing on Holden Beach saying this is a good place to come hunting. My opinion is, you don't have to share it, but my opinion is that these hobbies, this beach, they're made for everybody. Nobody owns it, and I have been blessed through a lot of hard work, but I've been blessed with a lot of great beach finds over the years, and there's enough for all of us here. I don't like the greedy attitudes. Don't tell people about that spot. You're going to give away the secret. My parking lot is now going to be full. It's not your parking lot, and that's not your beach access point. It belongs to everybody, and families and children, and anybody who has curiosity has a right to be out here learning. And so that's really the thrust of all that I do with my books and with education, is to bring as many people in as I can. And I don't even listen to the old crabs anymore who grumble about don't give away the secrets, don't give away the spots. Everyone needs to learn.
Well, you know, that's the reason why I started this page 5 years ago. I've been hunting for a long time, but you're right. There was never, if you stop or you see an old timer, so we call them, right, or a local, whatever the case is, you would ask them, hey, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Either you got no response or just shells, right? And there was never, how do you find What are you looking for? How do I search? Well, and I would have a tooth in my hand and I knew it, and I would ask on purpose, it's just a tooth.
Yeah.
Whether it be a sand tiger or a great white bull, whatever. And that was the answer I got.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's get a good resource to not only identify, show people. We all had to learn. You know, we all had to learn. We all found our first tooth, right? We all found our first amazing shell, fossil, whatever it is. We had to start from one tooth.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why there's great authors, there's great marine biologists, scientists that are on the page, that are out here. This is their life, their job. They take joy in it. And so it's great to hear stories. It's great to hear what you can find and how you can do it. So I do want to get just a little bit of tips before we go. I know everybody's like, get tips, get some tricks here. So the wind is horrible. Again, I hope y'all can hear us. I might change positions. I might face this way, but maybe Dr. Ashley, before we let her go, maybe she can give us a couple pointers. We don't have we didn't bring a whole lot with us today, but maybe just a couple small pointers on a day like today that's not so well. You come to the beach, maybe she can kind of walk us through what she would do, maybe briefly. So we'll be right back.
If I were to arrive at a beach like Holden is today, where you don't see very much, I would need to develop an alternative plan. When you come to the beach, you're going to be looking for shell beds. That's where the action is. Some days on the beach, they're going to be plentiful, and some days on the beach, they are going to be completely non-existent. You do have the option, and some people really enjoy this, of either digging to hunt for teeth, taking a rake out into the ocean to try to scoop what shells they can see rolling in the tide. Other people like to sift very close to the water line. I'm not a fan of any of those three things. I'm a walker. I constantly want to be moving. And so you want to position yourself where the shell beds are. And within those shell beds, you're going to be looking for things that are black and shiny and triangular shaped or long and pointy, because those are the most common shapes that we're going to see with local shark's teeth. You also, in my opinion, and you can do this through buying fossils or just spending time in shops and looking at them, it helps to have those fossils in your hand as you're just learning, because by examining those teeth, you're going to learn what are the specific shapes, what are the characteristics, say, of the roots, what do those serrations look like on the side. And it's been my experience that the more you observe those teeth, the more likely your eyes are going to be attuned to the nuances of what they look like on the beach. So tip number one, find the shell beds. If you arrive to the beach, tip number two, and there are no shell beds, that means you need to move. Tip number three, you're going to be looking for things that are black, shiny, and triangular or long and pointy. And by focusing on the shell beds and where the water is pulling down from those shell beds, you have sort of the best opportunity. Now, again, there are going to be days when you're not going to find very much at all, and those are days that we need to be thankful that we had the opportunity to even be at the beach. I think we need to oftentimes refocus that this is not about full buckets. This is about coming to the beach and hanging out with our families and relaxing and having that opportunity to really clear our heads.
So when she's mentioning shell beds, I just want to point out, I mean, there's nothing really here today,
yeah.
But the shell bed, this is what she's referring to. This would be a bed here. And up high, well, maybe not as high,
we don't
but,
have a high line today.
But so when she's talking about the pulling of the ocean, it's the suction that you would feel underneath your feet when the wave is pulling back, right? So on today, where would you start if there were a shell bed? Like the line here, would you sift on a day like today? Would you dig, do surface finds? What would you do on a day like today?
I'm a surface find gal only. I don't do any of those other methods.
Okay.
And if I came here and didn't see anything, I would move. And one of the things that I definitely encourage, no matter what beach you're hunting, whenever you come out to a beach, say at a fishing pier, right? Everybody brings their chairs and their coolers out, and they plop down, and they hunt within 100 yards to the north or 100 yards to the south of that pier. You want to be where the shell beds are, but it's even better if you can be where the people aren't. So I encourage you to walk, if you're able, walk and move away from those heavily populated areas to try to get to shell beds that maybe have not been so heavily picked over. I will only hunt the shell beds that are close to a pier if I've gotten out really early, and my eyeballs are the first ones that are going to see them. But those shell beds that have been exposed for 5 hours and thousands of people have walked by and looked through them, they are, yes, you may find some things in there, but they are not going to be as productive as a bed that's further down. So the really experienced shark-tooth hunters and shellers move. We don't come to one shell bed and park it.
So if you all have any more questions, if you all have any more, please go out and follow Dr. Ashley. How can they follow you? I know you have Facebook, you have Instagram, do you have Twitter, do you have, I guess all like, so if you want to plug all of your information here, and we'll even put everything down in the comments below. But
so I can be reached for bookings via email at professoroliphant@gmail.com, and that's PROFESSOR, and then same word Oliphant, OLIPHANT @gmail. My booking rates are very reasonable, and I want to make sure that I'm accessible to especially libraries and museums and schools and nonprofits that may want me to come and speak. You can also reach me at On the Beach with Dr. Ashley Oliphant on Facebook. I have sort of closed down my personal Facebook page to new requests because I want everybody to move over to the On the Beach page, and that's just sort of a safety issue because I would like to be able to vacation with my family without people knowing where I am.
Where you are,
yeah,
and all
where
that.
I am in real time.
Yeah,
so Facebook and that Gmail are the best option. I'm also on the Myrtle Beach Shark-Tooth page every day.
Absolutely.
And so I do my best when I see somebody posting that they found something they can't identify. I do my best to chime in. But in the comments underneath where this video gets posted, I'll be glad to answer any additional questions viewers have while they've been listening.
Absolutely. And please follow her. Please keep up with her. If you can get tickets, she's not lying. They go very quickly. Even I haven't got a chance to get one yet. I will be joining. I will be supporting. You all do the same. And get out here on the beach. The weather's being nice, but please be safe. Let's go with somebody. Let's kind of leave the turtles alone. Please be very safe. Your surroundings of animals. Don't touch them. Don't try to shoo them off. Try to go the opposite way if you can. So again, let's get out here. Let's have fun. Happy hunting, Dr. Ashley. Thank you so much again.
Happy hunting. Thank you.
And best of luck. See you next time.